Welcome to Remembering You, a space for slowing down, seeing again, and gathering the parts of yourself that the world asked you to forget.
Each week, we wander through stories, ancient, personal, and collective, to explore how perspective changes everything. How what we look at and how we look can open doors to who we truly are.
Take a breath, feel your feet.
You've arrived.
Let's begin remembering you.
So I just had a texting conversation with a friend, and it made me absolutely delighted. And I told him so. I said, it's a cloudy, rainy day, and you have brought a huge smile to my face, and I just could not be happier today. He responded with sending a meme of Thumper from Bambi.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it says just aw, and has the Thumper's leg. Aw shucks.
Aw
is what it says.
shucks.
And has Thumper kind of doing his Thumper thumping thing. So I responded with, he knows that I grew up in conservative church and purity culture. So when I turned 18, really was when I started dating. And my first girlfriend, for some reason, her response to me when we started dating was, "You're Twitter-pated." And I looked at her and I'm like, okay, sure. And then the next thing I know, she gave me a Thumper rabbit, stuffed animal. And the youth group started calling me Thumper.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. So that's a little bit of delight in my soul here today that may come through audio. We'll see energetically.
Oh, shucks.
I value smiles and delight, and also silly stories and reminiscing and sharing stories with others.
Yeah. I was going to say it sounds playful.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Very much so.
So we're going to talk about values and desire.
Yeah. So we've talked about boundaries in a previous episode.
Yeah.
And boundaries help us define what we value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much.
And can also support us in our desire and ultimately what actually matters to me. So it was just kind of a natural progression. Oh yeah, this would make a lot of sense. Let's continue to talk about the family of experience that boundaries is a part of, and also values, desire, and those things that I hold near and dear.
Well, values are one of those topics that to me has always seemed kind of not just abstract, but like I've gone through a number of corporate kind of values exercises, which, I mean, that's a whole nother level of abstraction. But I instinctually know that obviously I must have values. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't. Like, if I didn't have any values, from one moment to another, there wouldn't be a way to figure out, do I move right or do I move left? Aside from maybe just like a basic instinct. So values are obviously so central to who we are fundamentally, and then of course what we decide to do from one moment to another. But it's hard to talk about. Or, maybe you read through those big long lists of values and it's like, well, all of these are so good. Like, how do I don't know, choose one over the other? It's just so anyway, so I guess all that is to say I appreciate that this is kind of a amorphous topic. And so over the years, I have found some more clarity in how to relate to my values. And so I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind as you were saying that is that we can be motivated by a lot of things outside of values.
Oh, very much. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's important to name that. There can be impulses and there can be reactions. And we might not necessarily know if what is drawing us or what we are repulsed by is really connected to a value or not. It could just be in a moment. I think of the term that kind of made its way into our national awareness back in 2004 when the presidential election was taking place, and 22% of voters named themselves as moral value voters. You know, that was their top concern, was as a values voter in that time frame. And they were making their decision at the polling place based upon what was important to them. And also, you know, that was a big time that conservative Christian political movement was making some pretty big strides. And values voters.
So kind of a move, not just, so are you saying like in politics there was a transition maybe away from policy or like economics or business, but actually what is right from an ethical perspective or a moralistic kind of way?
Yeah, more from a religious or a social conservative voter, kind of is how we would classify a values voter from back in 2004.
It seems like for a lot of people, certainly I imagine that number is way more than 22% now. But I imagine that's the lens through which most people make sense of politics altogether, practically.
Ultimately, people who are for fiscal responsibility or tax cuts for businesses, because they're a business owner, like their value is my business is successful.
Yes.
And so the bottom line, and that includes what tax bracket I'm a part of. So,
but it's not like an ethical issue.
No, it's not like I opened up my Bible and this is what the red letters say.
Right.
Which there are folks who that is part of the values voter kind of block of folks who are focusing on moral issues as their most important or what is getting them to the polling place.
Yeah.
That's how they'll describe it. So there's a line that was attributed to a Civil War general, Stonewall Jackson. And in college, one of my profs loved this quote and would quote Stonewall Jackson, not just this quote, but many others as well. And as I did some research, it actually wasn't attributed to Stonewall Jackson. It was from John Jay in a speech that he gave in 1856, but Stonewall Jackson kind of popularized it. And the quote is, "Duty is ours, and consequences are God's." And maybe we could say, if God language isn't working for you at this time in your experience, we could say, like, it's all going to come out in the wash. Whatever changes in your pocket that you forgot, it will come out in the wash. Duty is ours, and the consequences are left up to something bigger than yourself. And that idea is something that begins to help give some clarity or some context for me in my experience around values, because there was a sense of it's my duty, and therefore I need to see this through so that what I see as my duty and what is right and just and maybe my responsibility as a human or a religious person or a spiritual person, like I need to make what my duty is successful.
So like you need to control it out in the world.
Control is a really good word. Yes.
Uh-huh.
And it's interesting because the particular brand of Christianity I grew up in, there were folks who were strongly focused on free will. Like, you get to do whatever you want to do and you're responsible for that. And then there were those who were the sovereigntists, that God is going to make happen what God wants to happen, and you have no will in this moment.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So this quote gave me a way to balance both of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do I look at my responsibility, or what is for me to think or me to do, or me in the way that I spent my money or my time? And then am I okay with allowing that to be enough, where I can take a deep breath and step back and hands off and not micromanage the outcome?
That's huge. I mean, I think the first big issue that comes to mind is the abortion debate in our country, and the sense that other people feel they have a right to tell other people what they can or can't do with their body. And I mean, yeesh. I mean, that quote from the 1850s, was that
1856.
Yeah.
By abolitionist John Jay.
He was an abolitionist.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So that seems like one of those quotes that would apply rather beautifully to a lot of big problems that we're still wrestling with in this country. I'm curious.
Where things get complicated in whether it's abortion or any, I would say, values-based cultural issue, is that the responsibility or the duty is ours. So the duty is to protect the sanctity of human life.
Sure. And so then they feel like that extends into
the moral majority, how I'm voting, and who I'm putting into office, and which political party has the power to make the decisions to appoint Supreme Court justices, who then will make rulings in favor of the way that we feel morally is our duty, because we are guilty by association. I'm an American, and in America I can have an abortion. So that means that I'm going to receive God's judgment in my life because I am guilty by association.
Oh gosh, I had never heard of an argument like that. The guilty by association, I mean. Yeah. Okay, so it's not so cut and dry, huh?
No, values
Here I thought I just solved the abortion debate.
Values are super sticky and troubling.
Yeah.
Alongside this idea of duty is ours and consequences are God's, would be a passage of scripture that I found in my early 20s when I was looking for some confirmation and some affirmation of where I was and the path I was on. And one day I was reading through Gospel of Luke, and I came to chapter 9, verse 62, And it says, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. So today we have a lot of folks that are defining the kingdom of God as a geographic location in the Middle East, aka Zionism.
Yeah.
Or America is God's chosen nation. But if we allow the scripture, if we allow the text to interpret the text and to inform what it means, the Apostle Paul later on in his epistle defines what the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven is all about. And his definition is that it's righteousness, so this idea of being in the flow with God, experiencing, everything is right and everything is good and this is amazing. I know why I'm here. In this moment, it confirms everything of who I am and what I am to be about in my life. So righteousness, peace, which is shalom, the idea of a common blessing within the Hebrew culture. When you see somebody on the street, when you leave someone's home, you give them this salutation of shalom, which is wholeness, completeness. And it's basically saying, have a carefree day. I wish that you don't have any lack in your life. Like, you don't have any stress, any worry, any concern. Like, your needs are met and you're good. Wholeness, completeness. So righteousness, peace, and joy in spirit. So this, again, sense of all is well in a way that I can dance and I can laugh and I can sing and there's no holding back and there's no reserves and it's just heart wide open. And I mean, you know how it is when your kid who is 3 or 4 years old, all of a sudden something tickles them and they just throw their head back and let out the little kid giggles. And that is that like unfiltered joy, and it just flows through. So in my life, the frame of mind that I was in when this passage in Luke hit me, it gave me confidence that I am moving forward, and all I have to do is just be faithful and be true to what I know to do in my life.
So that's the putting the hand on your plow and not looking back.
Put my hand on the plow, and it ultimately is the difference between just being faithful versus the literal insanity that it will create in your experience if you're trying to control what happens after the faithfulness. And I would say that in line with that idea of insanity, much of our suffering comes from trying to manage those type of outcomes in our experience. We want to do the right thing and also guarantee that it will work.
Yes.
We want to tell the truth, and also I like to be liked. Sometimes it's uncomfortable when I'm telling the truth in love or with kindness. I can still have a little bit of a twinge of, ooh, this might not come out right. And if it comes out sideways, I am not going to look great.
Yeah.
We want to live from conviction and still keep everybody in the moment comfortable. And sometimes our convictions, at least I can speak in my experience, makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, right. Same.
And it's not always fun.
No. Yeah, and then it's like you have a choice. Do I be true to myself, or do I be true to this idea of making sure everybody is comfortable? Which, boy, talk about a poison.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little sketchy when we're following what is deepest and truest in us, and that leads us to a place of loss or letting go or disruption. Like, I don't want disappointment and I don't want grief. But in order to move forward and to be here now, thank you, Ram Dass, I have to also recognize that I'm here now and I'm not back there.
Or in the future. Yeah, I mean, how often are our thoughts either ruminating on something that happened in the past or worrying about something that might happen in the future? And I mean, I catch myself there all the time, every day. And so it's like, can I just be true to what is here now? And that's it.
How silly would it be for a farmer to have the posture? Posture is important to me right now. Like, the posture of my task is to control the harvest. And therefore, if I'm controlling the harvest, that means I also have to figure out how to control the rain and the sun and the bugs and the worms. And that's not what a farmer does. They do the task, put the hand to the plow, and just be faithful to what is true. So, my love.
Yeah.
What actually matters to you?
So it depends. I say it depends in a way that recognizes I am much more of a process than I am a particular point or like something. I am not static and unchanging. That I am in constant shift and change, and sometimes those are really big, but most of the time it's just a gradual unfolding. And so what matters to me most right now, and really fundamentally, is just contentment. Like, I am, and a lot of the quotes that you named kind of capture that really beautifully. That my happiness is no longer dependent on what other people think of me or what other people expect of me. Like, I care very much, like you. I care very much about what you think and what you need, and I care about friends and other family and professional colleagues. But there's a much deeper anchor into myself and a groundedness that wasn't there for most of my life. And so that's like my North Star. And so it's much less about achievement or, I don't know, getting to some imagined goal. It's just, am I content and am I at peace and am I true with what I need and how I feel right now? And is there enough spaciousness to allow that to shift as it needs to? So maybe flexibility would be a way to capture that as a value.
Flexible in contentment.
Yeah. How about you? Or like, how do you relate to your values?
So values are not supposed to change.
Says who?
They're concrete.
What are we, 5?
That was, yeah. So that was the messaging that I grew up with. These are your values.
Yeah. Period.
And there was a shame. It was a deep like disdain and hatred for yourself if somehow you reneged on your values of childhood or family or church or community or nation. Like, that was not okay if you weren't faithful and true to literally the party line that I grew up in. And so in my experience, I would say that there is a growing or an evolving or a reevaluating of values that has taken place in my life when I've moved from maybe one stage in my experience to another.
Yeah.
And it had a lot to do with maybe loss or the people or the perspective. Yeah, I can definitely say that it's probably an ongoing process of, I don't want to use the word waking up, but that phrase is like I have awakened to certain values that are new or that were there, but I didn't know that it was there or hadn't named it. So the process, I think, that I have gone through maybe different versions of my values, there was a realization that what mattered to me was maybe not what I was supposed to care about, or what makes me look good, or revolved around or would be rewarded by my family or my church or community, not what necessarily kept everyone from being upset or helped me maintain a certain image of myself that I was projecting out into the world. So when I think about my values, and I appreciate you using the word contentment, because in our attention economy, there isn't a whole lot of contentment examples out there.
Yeah.
Because contentment doesn't sell.
Yeah, it's kind of...
Discontent
Yes.
sells.
Yes.
Less
Drama.
than. Lack.
Yeah.
If you buy this, then you will finally have arrived.
Yeah.
If you own this. And with that oftentimes comes debt.
Yeah, the whole marketing industry just kind of fails when you're not living from a place of scarcity. Like if you already feel content and satisfied, then what the heck do you need more stuff for? Yeah, it's just not appealing.
So I think I would say my process of continuing to evaluate my values is recognizing that I inherited a life before I was able to choose a life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's each of us as
absolutely.
we grew up in a family of origin.
Yep.
Like we inherit expectations, we have inherent roles, there's loyalty, we inherit fears, ideas of success, goodness, masculinity, femininity, spirituality, usefulness, strength, and belonging. Like years and years and years before I'm able to tell the difference of what's truly mine versus what have I been conditioned by. Like I learned to have a particular set of values in order to survive.
Oh, sure.
Like that's...
And it was just the water you were swimming in, and so that's just what seemed true. Yeah.
So my value process oftentimes is subtraction versus adding.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah,
as a 40-something-year-old, that is very much appropriate. It makes sense. So what do I value?
Yeah.
What do I value? I think it's important to recognize that asking that question is a soul question. Like, how do I know what's truly mine? How do I know when I'm living from my values and not just conditioning? How do I know the difference between deep desire and surface cravings? How do I know when I'm being faithful rather than just being compliant? Like these are opportunities for us in our soul to really wrestle. And I think in my experience, what I value, maybe kind of an umbrella, like this covers the way that I view values right now is what makes me enter into and feel a sense of home or belonging or, and I think akin to contentment.
Yeah.
What is just true that I can rest and surrender into.
It sounds like what's part of that is because there is kind of this simplicity of just living by the values that you were taught growing up. I mean, it's almost like you don't have to think about it too much. But that as we start to wrestle with that, we then have to, like, the values become much more like verbs that we inhabit in from one moment. So it's they're no longer like simplistic rules, like, honesty means never lying, for example, period. But then, of course, we've all been in complex situations where it's like, actually, maybe telling the total and complete truth in this moment would do more harm than good. And so then it's like, how do I feel through that in a more dynamic way, as opposed to something that is very rigid and black and white. And so it becomes an active, evolving process.
Telling the truth with love and kindness is a spine that is straight and a heart that is open and not going to do harm as you're holding your sword of truth. That is complicated.
Yeah, and so learning how to take that kind of a posture that can be really challenging in some situations, especially if we come from a history of people pleasing. It's like, it can seem contrary to what we have practiced our whole life.
It's interesting to note that, like, I can do everything right and still feel deadened inside. Like, I can be admired and still feel lost.
Yeah.
I can be needed and also at the same time feel unknown. I can be successful in everybody's eyes and feel like my soul has gone quiet. So one of the things that popped into my mind was, I'm sure you grew up with this as well, I was not allowed to leave my bedroom in the morning until my bed was made.
Yep.
Like, that was...
Oh, yeah. Big rule.
That was up there next to the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
Like the thou shalt and shalt nots. Like,
Yep.
It was intense, and my assumption, I should have this conversation with my parents and maybe aunts and uncles. My assumption is that they got it from their parents.
Sure.
Who got it from their parents who fought in World War I.
Yeah.
And then fought in World War II. And a drill sergeant would come through to check to make sure that everyone's beds were made and you could bounce a quarter off of it. Like, it was that tight. And so, along with the Puritan view of, a clean hands equal a pure heart.
Yeah.
If your hands weren't clean, go back to the sink and wash them, because it means that there's something wrong with you on the inside. If your bed wasn't made, then obviously you didn't have a clean slate for the day. And so that was a value that I was handed. Somewhere along the lines, when I went off to college, I continued making my bed, and it went from, I'm doing this because my mom made me do it, to I'm doing this because it feels good to have my bed made before I leave.
Yeah.
And to this day, like, I need to have things put away. I can't leave things out. And it helps me to feel that, oh yeah, everything's okay. I'm taking pride in my space, and this is a value that I received and then maybe went through some different evolutionary processes and has come to what it is today.
And what I also notice about that in you is you are not perfectionistic about it. There are times when, just the way that our night has unfolded, the kitchen does not get cleaned up and spotless before we go to bed. Like sometimes that is left until the morning. And it's not my favorite thing in the world either, but I can go to bed knowing that'll be taken care of in the morning. It's fine. It's not hurting anything. And so there's, I think, again, that flexibility piece is really important, just to recognize when, some nights are just really busy or you just get tired sooner than you imagined you would. And that's just to go with the flow a bit more.
It's important to recognize that if I experience my soul going quiet, that it's probably not because there's something wrong with me. Like not feeling that there's inner direction or inner life. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with me. It's probably because I'm living too far away from my own center, like my own values. I'm allowing Instagram to inform how I make sense of the world around me. And that probably is not the most healthy way for me to measure my values.
Instagram? Yeah, no. That's a great way to frame it.
There's a lot of things that can, I think, interrupt the trance that we can find ourselves in of a culture or a work environment or our family of origin, like the trance that we are placed in. And most of the time it's a painful process for that trance to start to crack.
Oh, yeah.
And break.
Oh, yeah.
With a loss, betrayal, health scare, grief, burnout.
Yep.
A child leaving home, being an empty nester, some kind of a spiritual or emotional or mental crisis. And then a season when the old roles just stop working.
Yep.
Like those are all things that are interrupting the trance. And suddenly the question underneath everything begins to arise afresh and anew. What actually matters to me now?
Well, I mean, I think, I imagine a lot of folks experience, doing all of the right things. Maybe I went to school and I got the job and I have the house and I have the wife and I have the kids and the dog and the fence, but I still don't feel like I've arrived. There's still something that's missing. And so whatever your version of that story is, it's like I've done all the things. Why don't I feel the thing that I thought I was going to feel? Why do I feel like a stranger maybe in my own life? And I think values, there, like you said, there's probably a misalignment. Like there's something, you're not living close to your own center. Do you have a favorite practice, or like how do you then reorient yourself to your center if you're feeling off in that way?
If my soul feels quiet, if my soul feels like it's not alive, dull, dead, like there's something inside that is out of alignment, it doesn't mean that there's not things in my life that are hard or tough or that are challenging. Like we all have a growth edge where we feel fear. But if there's the awareness that our engine on the inside is gone quiet, then my go-to practice is silence and solitude. And it's just being present to myself and my experience and listening, whatever I need to do so that I'm not trapped up in my head and in let's solve it quick mode. Because the soul, our inner world, our inner self doesn't get solved. Like it's not, that's the wrong question to solve.
It's not a math equation.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the questions that I've asked myself over the years in times of inquiry regarding what do I really value, what's most important to me, how do I want to pursue my time, what do I want to give my one wild and precious life to, is which values are deeply true for me and which of them are maybe starting to feel a little bit less than as important as it had once been in my experience. Asking the question, did I become responsible for this value because responsibility is really valuable to me, or because chaos required me to be the stable one in my experience? Did I become agreeable because I value peace, or because it was dangerous to have needs? Did I become highly achieving because I love excellence, or because achievement became my way of securing worth? Did I become spiritual because I actually have a longing for the divine, or because holiness became a way to stay approved in my experience? Now, these are tender questions that can take a lot of time to sit with and feel through.
Yeah.
They're not accusing questions or shaming questions, just honest ones that can only be answered in, I would say, the quietness of my internal experience.
I like this one that's in that same vein. It asks, if you lost your ability to achieve your values tomorrow, who would you be in the stillness that's left?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
And it can be really uncomfortable to be still when we're so used to moving and doing and fixing and thinking and planning and achieving.
Mm-hmm.
And then to just be willing to slow down enough to wrestle with those tender questions. That's so important.
I think it's important to name that a value is not just an idea that I agree with, but it's something that organizes my life. And sometimes there has to be de-organization in order for there to be a reorganization.
Yes.
Of organizing my life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite natural. Like it's not a sign of a personal or moral failure if your life kind of has to fall apart for a little while. It is actually just a normal process of order, decay, reorder, more order, decay. I mean, all of nature around us and the economy and politics, everything in life is just in a constant process of organizing itself and working for a little while and then needing to shift, and kind of gets chaotic in between one stage and another.
Yeah, I think I'd come back to which values feel like home in me.
Yeah.
And that's an easy test in my experience, just to be honest with, nope, this doesn't feel at home. Others are expecting it though. And so, well, what do I do? How do I respond? If you were going to bridge values to desires, how would you describe the difference between a value and a desire?
Desires feel underneath in a way my values. So like in that they inform, or like they're the driver in a sense. Not to say that my values can't also inform my desires, but desires feel more fundamental. They feel, it's like the voice that my soul might speak with to say, this is what matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the value is the thing that I do, or the kind of idea that I have in my head that represents that deeper voice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, desires can also come from a part of me that is not like deeply connected to my soul. You know, sometimes my desires are short-term, fleeting little thing, and that is okay. Not every desire that we have needs to like be some soul-felt deep expression. But we just have to use some wisdom in that process.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, desires are like, they feel like the very spark of life itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like the animating force that causes me to want to get up in the morning and make my coffee and listen to the birds and sit next to you and read and write and, and do all the things that I love to do in the day.
Mm-hmm. The word desire can be difficult for some people. I found that over the years, because the word desire can sound maybe a little bit selfish or indulgent, also dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But desire is not only appetite. Desire can also mean longing. It can mean what the soul leans toward. It can mean the movement of life in us. It's interesting to feel sometimes there are shallow desires. Mm-hmm. And then there are also desires that are like wholly mine.
Yeah.
And connected to the bedrock of who I am. And it feels good to know and experience a desire that is at the bedrock of who I am, like the desire to tell truth or rest or create or love well or live with depth or stop abandoning myself. All of these are desires that, in my experience, are connected to the bedrock of who I am and my sense of self.
Yeah, I think it's when I hear you say longing, our grief, I think, can say a lot about the desires that we have that are at that soul level. Like, I've been, so as we've been doing this Texas Master Naturalist program, and we've been learning about, I don't know, geology and plants and mammals and light pollution and water resources in Texas, just everything you can imagine that has to do with the natural world. And over and over and over again, it's just a story of how much we have lost. And long before we enrolled in this program, I mean, nature's been a pretty central part of my whole life in a lot of ways, but certainly like since COVID, there's just been this renewed desire to connect. And there is a grief that has awakened in me that is hard to put into words. And it surprises me how big it, like the ache and the sadness of knowing how much we've lost and knowing that chances are it'll never be recovered in my lifetime, if ever. And the ways that changes people's lives and their experience of themselves in the world. Anyway, there's so much with that. And so I recognize that in that grief and in that longing, there's some pretty big, it illuminates what we could think of as values and desires.
It reminds me of a line by Howard Thurman, a Black theologian, mystic, and spiritual leader to the civil rights movement. He said, "Ask what makes you come alive." Now that can sound a little bit self-focused, maybe self-centered if we hear it casually, but when we think the point he is making, he's helping us come to a place of recognizing that it's that gift of our soul to serve and to meet the world where it maybe has its greatest need in experience. The world doesn't need more hollow performance. It just needs you and me who are coming alive inside, inwardly awake and operating from a source that is, I would say, limitless.
Yeah, it is.
Ask what makes you come alive. And that will help point towards or begin to discern, oh, these are my desires.
Yeah.
This is really what I love and want in my experience.
I will never forget. There was a woman I coached when I was at Dell, and she had one of those jobs. She probably had one of the most unfun, boring jobs you could have in that department. Very just tedious, oddity kind of position, and she absolutely hated it. But it paid really well, and there was some familial kind of expectations going on that kept her there, and she found herself in this never-ending cycle of, she just burnt out. She worked way too much, but then she was so stressed and so burnt out that she was dealing with insomnia, which then just fed her burnout even more. So she was kind of in this loop. And I remember asking her, like, essentially, what makes you come alive? Like what is there anything in life that just brings you joy, even in the most simple way? And it was as if somebody turned on a light switch inside her. Like her eyes got bright and big, and I swear to God, her skin glowed. And she talked about music, and she loved to produce music, and she would go to these festivals, and it was just like the energetic shift was hard to it's hard to put into words, but it was such a joy to watch. And that became, for her, that was a big aha moment that became a touchstone, over the following months when she was trying to figure out, like, what do I do and how do I feel my way through this? And I think having that recognition that this is a thing that fuels me, and maybe that doesn't necessarily mean that I need to go make it my career, but what does that tell me about who I am and how I need to be in this world? So I love that question of what makes you come alive, because boy, some people literally can just with that question, like their whole being lights up, and it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Friedrich Bucher puts it beautifully when he says, vocation is where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. It's such a helpful distinction. Calling is not merely doing what's easy, and it's also not grim self-hate, like
drudgery.
Yeah. You don't have to be miserable.
No.
It's the meeting place between what is deeply alive in you and what is deeply needed around you. Parker Palmer, another great author and speaker, says, in effect, let your life tell you what values you actually embody. Now, that's humbling because there are probably some values that we admire but might not quite be fully alive in you yet. So it's acknowledging that there's a process. Like, we care about freedom, but how are we organizing our lives around freedom versus being desperate for approval?
Yeah.
And that is an ongoing process, especially when there's a well-worn groove of trade freedom for approval all the time. Like, that's just the default. People-pleasing is so dangerous to the soul.
Oh, my.
And it can look like loving people from the outside.
Yeah.
But it's, again, we'll name it, it's a survival strategy. Our nervous system's way of staying chosen, staying safe, and staying connected.
I mean, I have always, I think all of us can feel, I would much rather hear the hard thing from someone. I mean, delivered, like you said, with kindness and with an open heart. But it feels so much better to hear the hard thing than to just be told what they think I want to hear. I mean, the energy between the two could not be more important. And that for me has been helpful when I'm in one of those moments where I can feel my instinctual survival mechanism of being a people pleaser kick in. And it's like, no, actually, like, I know, like, when I'm on the receiving end of this, I really, really, really appreciate. So it's almost like I can use that people pleaser strategy to like do the hard thing and not be the people pleaser in the moment. It's just like, I know when I am on the receiving end, it actually feels a whole lot better to me. I mean, that works well enough to get me to where I need to go.
There's another way to discern or to start to understand what I truly value or what I truly desire in my experience, and that's when I recognize that something is breaking my heart. When something is breaking my heart, it is helping me to know that what was lost really mattered.
Yeah.
What I loved really mattered. What I was, or maybe am, afraid of losing really matters. And heartbreak can reveal what is an authentic value and desire that's playing out in our lives.
What do you do when you are maybe stuck or torn between two values that in that moment feel like they're in conflict with one another?
I value quiet and lots of silence and solitude. And whenever I know that I'm going to be in a place with lots of people and it's going to be noisy and loud, I am intentional to build in some space before that event or that experience and also after. So I've got a men's retreat coming up here in a week, and I have been intentional to take off the day before the retreat.
Yeah.
And also take off the day after with the purpose of doing nothing. Like, I will not look at my presentations or my talks at all that day before. It will just be a lot of quiet silence and solitude, and the same thing afterwards. And I've got a buffer before I jump right back into work and busy. And I know that there will be both the experience of my soul will have outflow, but my soul will also have inflow. And so I don't feel like I need to have those days set apart for recharge, but I do feel like there's going to be a lot of interaction and contact with people on a deep level that I need to make sure that I honor the value of quality time with men in the woods, and also quality and quiet time for myself.
Yeah.
How about a poem?
Yes. We get to end with a poem?
A poem that helps point us towards values, desire, and what we value. This is called Sweet Darkness by David White. When your eyes are tired, the world is tired also. When your vision has gone, no part of the world can find you. Time to go into the dark, where the night has eyes, to recognize its own. There you can be sure you are not beyond love. The dark will be your womb tonight. The night will give you a horizon further than you can see. You must learn one thing. The world was made to be free in. Give up all the other worlds, except the one to which you belong. Sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn. Anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you.
David White is so brilliant. Thank you, David.
Right on target. Well, may your values be affirmed on the inside and the outside by what you love and by those you love and the world of love around you. May your desire fall like raindrops from above that brings new desire to light as the wildflowers rise from the earth. And may all the things that make your life bright and beautiful and bold continue to support, nurture, and bring wholeness to all the little bits and pieces that make up the uniqueness of you.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all, for joining us today.
Yes.
Until next time.
We will see you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.